Hello everyone, welcome back to MalStorm Gaming. My name is Malachi Gardner, and today I'm going to be continuing my playthrough of the BattleQuest mode for BattleCon. I hope you all enjoy the video. Alright, so last time where we left off, we had just finished the first beat of our playthrough through Baroness Ancella's Crypt, and we had actually managed to defeat one of the 4 zombies out on the board, and we only actually lost 1 life in the process, so that was a pretty good beat. We have not anteed any of our trinket tokens yet, so we actually still have those available to us, and we now have 3 force counters, 2 from starting the game, and then 1 from playing through a full beat, so that is pretty good. And so we are all set up to start playing through the next beat. And just a reminder, we have these force tokens off to the side of the board here to remind us of how many turns we spent in this particular room of the dungeon, because if we beat it in 5 beats or less, then we gain 3 life. So let's get right into the second beat here and select our attack pairs. So first we're going to have this stack of the enemy activation tokens, and we are going to shuffle them up and deal 1 out to each enemy. Right, there we go. So deal 1 out to each enemy, which we will reveal in a little bit after selecting our attack pair. So one thing that I think could be good is because these enemies are so weak, we could just play a grasp, which would let us go really quickly, and then we could just do 2 damage plus a style that gives us +1 power. Let's see, none of these would actually do the trick, although we could even just get our power up overload tile here, which would give us +1 power, so we can just try to do 3 damage to this guy, because they don't really have any defensive abilities that would block damage or anything like that, so if we can just do 3 damage to them, we can take one of them out. And because we can only actually defeat one of them a turn, that's really what we're just going to try to do. We're just going to defeat one of them a turn because we can only target one of them each turn. Another option we have is actually, we can activate one of these, and so we can activate this +1 power stim card, which would allow us to have the 3 power that we need to defeat that enemy. So, let's see what would happen if we did that, and let's see, what if we were to do something like a shock grasp, which would give us an increase of priority to 6, and then it would give us 2 -1 power, but then we get +1 from this card right here, and then +1 because of the rush effect, which would give us a total of 4, which is more than we need to defeat one of these guys. And then we could advance 3 more spaces, so we could actually go all the way over here and take this guy out while getting far out of the range of these 2 people, so that we would not be able to be dealt any damage. That sounds very good to me. So I think that that is what I'm going to do. And then I am going to ante this stim card right here. So I'll do that. And then, do I want to do any other abilities here? I think that I will ante the healing stone because that'll allow us to heal 1 life. So now that'll bring us back up to our maximum life. Now, I also could get some extra priority from speeding up, but from looking at the enemy's abilities over here on the scenario book, I can see that the maximum priority is 6. And since we win ties, having my 6th priority means that I will go first, no matter what happens. So, I think that I am all set, and this is a very good attack pair and cards to ante for this situation. So I'm going to flip over all these tokens. Alright, these 2 enemies, because they have a 3 and a 2, they are going to shamble, which means that they have a range of 1, a power of 1, a priority of 0, a guard of 0, and then they have a before activating effect saying that they will advance 1 space. This character right here, because he has a 6, he is going to bite, which means that he's a priority of 6, stun guard of 0, range of 1, a power of 4, and then no special abilities. So if my priority was anything less than 6, he would win, and he'd be able to do us 4 damage, which would be very bad. So I'm glad that my priority is as high as it is. So I have the highest priority, and so I'm going to be able to advance 3 or more spaces. Advance or retreat 3 or more spaces, but of course I'm going to advance. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Now that's the minimum. This going here is the minimum, but I can go a 4th space because I can go 3 or more spaces. So I'm going to go right here instead. So I am far out of the range of these 2 blue and purple enemies, so they are not going to be able to harm me whatsoever. Then I am within range of this green enemy because my range is 1 plus 0. So my range is 1, so I'm going to be able to hit this guy right here. Now it's not actually going to matter terribly much in this case, but I do have 2 hit effects. I have the shock hit effect, saying that if the enemy is at range 1, I can ignore guard. And then I have the grasp effect that says I can push or pull 1 space. Okay, so I can do these abilities in any order. Now, the best thing to do would be to do the shock's ability first, because then, since he's at range 1, I ignore his stun guard, which he doesn't have any to begin with, so it doesn't mean anything. But if he did, that would be very useful, and then I can push him 1 space so that now he's out of range of me. If I had done that in the other order, I would have pushed him 1 space, and then he would not be at range 1, so I could not trigger this ability here. So that is the best order to do things. Then I'm going to hit him, and I'm going to do 2 minus 1 plus 2, so 3 damage to him, which means he's going to lose all 3 of his life, and is going to be removed from the board. So that was good. And then this character over here is going to go and bite me, but of course he has a range of 1, so he's not going to be able to hit anyone, so that's going to be his turn. Finally, this enemy right here is going to move 1 space for his shamble before activating ability. So he moves 1 space towards me, and then he's going to try to attack me, but he only has a range of 1, so I am safe. So now we're going to do end of beat effects, and I'm going to suffer chip 1 because of this stim card I've activated. And then I am going to go to the recycling phase, where I'm going to reset everything for the next round. So I'm going to take the cards into the discard pile 2 and add these to my hand. I'm going to just take the cards in discard pile 2, put them in discard pile 1, and then put these in discard pile 2, and I'm going to fix this card right here. Alright, this card's going to stay out, so we're going to be able to use this for next turn as well, so I'll leave that there. Then this tile right here, since this is a trinket, it is going to go on top of our discard pile 2, along with the cards that we've cycled in there, and we're going to get this back when these cards go back to my hand. Then I'm going to gain 1 force token, which will put me at 4, and I'm going to take an additional force token and put it over here by the scenario book, showing that we have spent 2 beats in this room. Then I'm going to read these cards so you know what they do. First, we have the switch style, which has no modifiers to the stats, and this is a special style because normally your styles are all unique to you. The switch style is a style that everyone has. Everyone shares the style. So this one is a generic style, and it says reveal, spend force equal to your life to replace your attack with your finisher. Trash this card and pick up your base. Then it says end, regain a force. You may switch your finisher. This card right here is the finisher. And you have 2 sides to this. You have the beta side, which is this one, and then the alpha side. And we're using the alpha side for now. And it is a Vital Silver Infusion. And it is a card that we are able to use when we play the switch style. We are able to use this card, and it is a full attack pair. So, as you can see for this card, it says to pick up your base and trash this style. So, this style is going to be removed from the game when you use that ability, and then you're also going to take the base that you played. Suppose it was this dodge. You take this and put it back in our hand, and then you would use this card. And it is a full attack pair, as if it were a style and a base. And then it has all sorts of cool abilities here. And so let's just read off the abilities here. Stun immunity and ignore guard. And then it says after activating, your life becomes 1. Deactivate all stims. For the rest of the duel, you have armor 3. And then we also have this reminder card over here, which reminds us that we have armor 3 for the rest of the duel. So that is how that works. And because it is so expensive, we need to spend force equal to our life in order to use this. You're not really going to be able to use your finisher until the end of the game, but then if you do, it's going to be really cool. If you use the switch style before the end of the game, you're going to be able to gain an additional force. So you gain 2 force that turn. And then you'd also be able to flip over so that you can have the other option available to you. You can pick whichever side you want at the beginning of the game, but then you have to play the switch style to flip them over throughout the game. Then we also have the dodge base, which has a range and power of NA, so it's not going to hit and it has no range. This attack is not going to hit. And then you also have a priority of 3 and a stun guard of 0. And it says this attack does not hit opponents. So it's just hammering on that point right there. This attack is not going to hit. But it says at the start of beat, advance or retreat 1 to 3 spaces. If you move past the opponent, avoid the opponent's attack. So this is exactly what it sounds like. You're dodging their attacks, which can be very useful. Alright, so now we are going to select our new cards, but before we do that, we are going to shuffle up all the tokens back together, all 6 tokens, and we're going to deal these out to the enemies. So I think we are now pretty far away from these enemies, so I think playing the shot base is a pretty good idea. And then I think I'm going to play the pulse ability, so that I'll just have even more range, and then I will be able to avoid some attacks here. So let's try this, and then we will not anti anything. I had the stim card already here, but I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to flip these over. And this guy is going to lunge, which means he's going to advance 2 spaces at the beginning of his turn. And then he is also going to have a range of 1, a power of 1, a priority of 3, and then a stun guard of 0. This character right here is going to shamble, which we've seen already many times, range of 1 and power of 1, and then a stun guard and priority of 0, and then an advance 1 space at the beginning of his turn. So I have a priority of -1, so I am not going to be going first. I'm actually going to be going last. So first, the lunge is going to go first with 3 priority. He's going to advance 2 spaces, and then he's going to try to hit, but of course he is out of range. Then this character is going to go and shamble. He's going to move 1 space, and then he is still out of range, so not going to hit. Alright, so now it's our turn, and we have a range of 1 to 4. Sorry, we actually have a range of 1 to 6. So we can hit either of these 2 targets, because they're both definitely in range, and then we can do 5 damage, because we have 3 plus 1 plus 1 power, so that's 5 power. So we're actually going to take this guy out right here, and he'll be defeated. So now we're going to go to the end of the beat, and we're going to lose 1 life for sustaining that ability. Then we are going to gain 1 force, and take 1 force over here. We're going to cycle through our cards, so now we have our Diffusion Strike back in our hand. We can use that again. And now we are all set for the next beat. And we need to defeat this last zombie in 2 turns, or else we will not regain 3 life. Like, I just need to hit him, right? That's really all I need to do. So, let's think. Drive is the fastest thing we could do, so if we're trying to go fast here, we can do drive, and then, yeah, let's do toxic. So let's just do a toxic drive, which will give us a priority of 5, and then let's go ahead and spend 2 force to anti-speed up, so that we have plus 2 priority, so we have 7 priority, which means that we're going to go first no matter what the enemy draws. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and deal 1 out to the enemy, and then we can just reveal it right away because we're all set. Alright, let's take this one right here, and it is a 1, so this is a shamble. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to activate this reveal effect, which says we're going to double the stats on all active stims. So we're going to gain plus 2 power instead of just plus 1, and then we are going to advance 1 or 2 spaces. We'll just do 1, and then we are now within range, and we're going to deal this enemy 5 damage, and we are going to defeat it. Which means that we have cleared this room. So now we are going to be able to check this scenario book right here, and we are going to gain 3 life. We're actually only going to regain 2 life because we are currently at 33 hit points, and gaining 2 more would put us at our maximum, and we cannot go above our maximum. So that 3rd hit point gain will be lost. And then it says we're going to go to room A. So now we are in the imp room. So we're in the zombie room, now we're in the imp room, and we are going to reset the board by going here and then placing the enemies accordingly, and then that will be the next room. Alright, so now I've set up the room, and you may have noticed that I've completely reset everything. Our discard piles are back to where they started, and you can put any 2 attack pairs in the discard pile, but I just decided to stick with what was the original. And now all these enemies have 3 life, as according to the scenario book over here. So now we're going to be able to start this room, and this room is similar to the last room in that it has a bonus reward saying that if you clear this room in 4 beats or less, you gain 3 life. So we are going to be able to, hopefully, defeat all these enemies in 4 or fewer rounds, and then we will be able to regain 3 life. Which, we are at max health right now, so that's not too bad. We don't really need any more life, but of course, with these stim cards, we're going to be losing life. And then, of course, if an enemy attacks us, we're also going to be losing life. So that could be very helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and pick out the cards for this next beat. Alright, so I've decided to go with Diffusion Shot, and then I'm also going to ante this stim card right here. So I'm all set with a total of 4 power, and then 3 priority, and then a minimum range of 1, maximum range of 5, and 2 stun guard. So I think this should be good. Let me see, do I want to ante any of these tokens over here? Alright, so I think I'm going to ante this auto deflector right here, which will give us 2 armor. So that will block some attacks if anything hits us, and then we're going to deal out 1 token to each of these enemies. Okay, so the imps are a new enemy type, and so we're going to go ahead and read their abilities here. So we have Rushdown, which is interesting. What Rushdown is it's for tiles 1, 2, 3, and then it's a range 1, power 2, priority 3, stun guard 0, and then it has, before activating, close 8. So that means that they're basically just going to teleport next to us. Essentially, they're just going to come right next to us. Then Trick Knife is 4 and 5, range 1 to 3, first range attack we've seen for enemies, power of 1, priority of 4, and stun guard of 0, and then it's ignoring guard. So no matter how high our guard is, this is going to go through it and probably stun us. But of course, it will not actually go through our armor, so that's one reason why I chose to get that armor for this beat. That ignore guard would not go through our armor, which would be good. And then we have the Imp Bomb, which has a range of 1, power of 5, priority of 7, and stun guard of 0, and then on damage, you defeat this monster. So they explode, basically. So they just go off and explode. So that would do a ton of damage to us, but it also does defeat them. So this over here is a 4, which will be a Trick Knife. So he's going to go at priority 3. Or sorry, he's going to go at priority 4, and he's going to go before us, unfortunately. This imp over here is going to do a rush down, and that's going to be a 3, which is going to be right after us because we win ties. And then over here, this imp bomb is going to go off right now, and he's going to hit here. And because he did not hit us, he's not going to do any damage to us, he's also not going to explode. This imp is going to go now, and it's going to deal 1 damage to us, but that is going to be reduced by 1 because of our auto deflector, so that's going to do no damage to us, and it is not going to stun us. Alright, so now it is going to be our turn. And so we have a range of 1 through 5, so you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can hit either of these 2 enemies here, the red or the green, and I think that I don't want to take out this green enemy. Why? Because if I take out this enemy, then this enemy will be able to close in on us and go right next to us and deal us 2 damage, which will be reduced by 1 because of our auto deflector, but still, that'd be 1 damage that I don't want to have to lose. So I'm going to defeat this enemy instead. So I'm going to shoot 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, which is within range, and I'm going to hit him. So I can push him 1 or 2 spaces, and then I can chip 2 if the opponent is on the edge of arena. So I'm just going to push him 1 space, and then I'm going to deal 3 damage to him. And I'm actually going to be able to deactivate this stim because of the diffuse card's damage effect. So on damage, we can deactivate a stim, which will mean that we don't have to take the 1 damage. So that's that, and now it's the end of the bait. And so we are going to close as far as possible because of our diffusion ability again, and we are actually closed, so that's not going to do anything. And then I'm going to recycle everything, and we now have our toxic grasp cards in our hand. We're going to gain 1 force, and we're going to add 1 force to the timer that we have on the side of the board here. And then this auto deflector is going to go right here. We're not going to be able to use that for a couple turns. And now we can go on to our next turn. I did forget to move that guy. He's gone. So I think I'm going to do my grasp again because these enemies are really weak and grasp is very fast. So we actually only need to do 3 damage to them. So it doesn't really matter that grasp only has 2 power. Then we're going to remove 1 power from that. So now our power is going to be 1, but then we're going to take this stim card right here, and we're going to go up to 4 power total, which should be enough to take out any of them. And then we have 6. I think I'm going to discard 2 force to anti-speed up, so that we are not going to have to worry about being beaten in terms of priority by any of the enemies, because our priority is now 8, and their highest priority is 7. So we can do this, and 2, and 5. Okay, so no one's doing the imp bomb, which is good. So we have a trick knife over here, and then we have a rushdown over here. So my plan was to advance 4 spaces, come over here, take this guy out, and then have this guy not hurt us. But of course he now has a rushdown, so if we do that, we're going to take this guy out, but this guy's going to be able to do us some damage, unfortunately. But is there any way we can avoid that? I don't really think so. So I think we're just going to have to do that again. And that's the thing with BattleCon, is that after you've played your cards, there's no taking it back. Some attack pairs do have wiggle room in them that you can kind of change your plan, but for this attack pair, we don't actually have much choice and we have to just go through with what we've done. So we're going to go ahead and advance 3 or more spaces. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we are going to deal 2 minus 1 plus 2. So that's going to be 3 damage to this enemy, and we are going to be able to defeat it. And then this enemy over here is going to rush down, come over here, and do us 2 damage. And then we're going to lose 1 additional life because of the sustain effect on our stim card. So that was a decent round. I kind of wish I didn't have to take that hit, but there's nothing I could do to avoid it. Unfortunately, we're going to gain 1 force, and then we'll gain 1 force over here. So we have 2 more beats to defeat this last enemy in order to regain 3 health. If we can actually defeat this enemy before he hits us, then we will regain 3 health, which puts us at max health, which is, you know, what we want. So I think the fast thing we could do is a drive. That's 4 priority. And then I could do speed up, which would put us at 6 priority. And then I could do Toxic over here, which would give us 7 priority. And just in case something weird goes off that I wasn't anticipating, I'm going to anti this healing stone to regain 1 life. And then I'm going to deal out a token to the enemy here. So let's see what we have. This is going to be a rushdown because it's a 1, so we're just going to be able to go through. He has a priority of 3, we have a priority of 5, 6, 7. So we have a priority of 7. So we're going first, most definitely. First we have a reveal of doubling all of the stats on our stim cards. So this gives us 2 power for this round. And then we have a before activating setting to advance 1 or 2. We'll just advance 1. And then we are going to attack him for 3 power. And that is going to defeat him. And that was the final enemy, which means that we have only spent 3 rounds. That was the 3rd beat, so we spent a total of 3 beats in this room, which means that we still are able to regain the 3 life. Now, of course, like last time, we only are down 2 health, so we're only going to be able to regain 2 health, putting us back up at 35. So we're going into the 3rd room now, and we are still at our max health, which is amazing. So that's going to be good. Like usual, we're going to reset everything so we can take all the cards back and the stim cards deactivated, everything like that. And we're going to set up the next room, which is the Whispering Room. And with this, it's going to have 4 wisps, and we are right in the middle of them. And then it has a bonus saying to clear this room in 5 beats or less. If you claim this bonus, go to room E. Otherwise, go to room C. So if you do C, we'll fight against these werewolves. If we're going to go through E, we're going to fight against these wisps and then this ooze. And then they each will have two different paths. If you actually go to C, you're going to also have to go to D. Whereas if you go to E, you're going to go to F instead of D. And so there's two different paths inside this dungeon, which is kind of cool. Hopefully we'll be able to go through some of those without dying. So that is where I'm going to end this episode. So then hopefully in the next episode, I will be able to go through one or two more rooms, and we'll just keep working our way through this dungeon, and hopefully we will be able to defeat the final boss at the end of it and have a victorious playthrough. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you all found it helpful. If you did enjoy it, please consider subscribing to MalStorm Gaming to see more content just like this and to learn about more cool games. In the meantime, I hope you all have a great day and happy gaming!